To be a successful day trader, use patience, wait until you see small ranges, because that's when your best opportunities are going to come.
You don't even need a 50% win-loss ratio. As a matter of fact, one of the most famous traders from the 80s, 95% of his trades were losers.
Every day, millions of people sit down at their desks, staring at the same charts, hoping to outsmart the market. They've got their systems, their strategies, maybe even an edge they think will set them apart. But when the market opens, everything changes. The carefully rehearsed plan? Gone. The confidence they had? Crumbling. The decision-making? Fumbling. And just like that, the market consumes them. 95% of day traders fail. Not 50%, not 70%, 95%. That's worse than a casino. At least in Vegas, they hand you a drink before they take your money. What does that tell you? Most people think it's all about charts, technical indicators, setups, and perfect timing. But here's a brutal truth. It's not about that at all. The best traders in the world, they don't obsess over indicators. They obsess over themselves. The market isn't your enemy. It's a mirror. The market doesn't punish you. It reveals you. It exposes your beliefs, your fears, your ego, your trauma. It forces you to face what's inside of you that you never wanted to look at. And that's why 95% lose. But here's the real kicker. The world's best traders didn't have an advantage at birth. They didn't have some secret strategy or a crystal ball. What they did have was the willingness to face themselves. They didn't just learn to trade, they learned to transform. In The New Market Wizards, Jack Schwager interviews top traders who made millions, not by being right all the time, but by becoming resilient in the face of their own failures. They weren't born brilliant. Some were school teachers, some were math nerds, some were poker players. None of them were naturals. What they shared was something simple. They transformed. And if you're serious about succeeding, you have to transform too. But here's the problem. Most traders don't get it. They're stuck in a loop of hoping for the perfect strategy, the magic system. But there is no perfect system. There's only you. What if every trade you make isn't about strategy, but about self-awareness? What if the market isn't just testing your predictions? It's testing your beliefs. You're not trading the market. You're trading yourself. The best traders in the world? They learned how to use the market to face their deepest fears, their arrogance, and their greed. They embraced their weaknesses, not as obstacles, but as opportunities for growth. And here's a question for you. What if your best edge, the one thing that could set you apart, is the very pain you've been avoiding? What if the thing you've been running from, the fear of failure, the shame of losing, was the key to your success? They learned to lose well, and in doing so, losing became an advantage. They didn't view losses as a defeat, but as a lesson. And this is where most traders fail. Because they think losing is the problem. But in reality, it's their inability to lose well that destroys them. It's not about being right every time. It's about learning how to lose with grace and using each loss as a stepping stone to mastery. And here's the truth. This is not a tutorial on how to trade. This is a blueprint for personal transformation. Trading isn't about beating the market. It's about beating yourself. Most traders get into this game because they want to be right. They want to win. But that's exactly why they fail. The top traders in the world, the legends, never started with a winning system. They started with the willingness to face themselves. They learned to embrace their fear, their doubts, their weaknesses. They didn't need the market to make them feel validated. They didn't need to be right to feel good about themselves. They became someone the market couldn't break. someone who was stronger than their own ego. The market is a mirror, and it will reflect back to you everything that's inside. The moment you start to trade with clarity, with calm, with discipline, that's when the market will finally open up to you. That's when you'll start winning. Not by guessing the next move, but by understanding who you are in the face of every move the market makes. Now let's talk about something the majority of traders overlook: risk management. You see, the best traders in the world are cowards. That's right, cowards. They don't rush into big bets. They don't take reckless risks. The higher the stakes, the smaller they trade. It sounds backwards, doesn't it? But every interview Jack Schwager conducted with top traders reveals this same shocking truth. The best traders don't win by being brave. They win by being paranoid. One of the most successful options traders in history, Tony Saliba, turned $50,000 into $8 million. When Schwager asked him how he did it, his answer wasn't about technical setups, market patterns, or volatility curves. It was about obsessive risk control. Tony's approach? He would step away from his screen if something felt off. He reduced his position size after a win just to prevent overconfidence. And if a trade ever felt too good, that was his cue to exit. And then there's Tom Baldwin, one of the world's largest bond traders. The public expected him to be aggressive, trading thousands of contracts in a minute. But beneath the surface, he was wired for defense. He didn't chase wins. He scanned for threats. His risk management was ruthless. His losses? Quickly cut. Here's the paradox most people don't get. Amateurs think courage means holding on, but professionals know that the real courage is letting go. Letting go of bad trades. Letting go of your ego. Letting go of the need to be right. Most traders enter the market wanting to make money. They chase that feeling of a big win. But the pros? They're hunting for danger. They're constantly looking for risk, scanning for signs of trouble. That's what keeps them alive. That's why most traders blow up their accounts. Because they're chasing rewards, not scanning for threats. They take big risks without considering the consequences. The greatest traders don't take risks to win big. They take small risks to survive, to stay in the game. It's the same thing you've heard in trading circles for years. What's the quickest way to lose a small fortune in the markets? Start with a large fortune and no risk management. But here's the kicker. Most traders, especially beginners, think they need more courage to succeed. What if I told you, you don't need more courage? What if you need more fear? What if the voice you're ignoring, the one that says, slow down, you're rushing, is the very one that could transform you into a legend? What if the key to survival isn't betting bigger, it's betting smarter? Because in this game, it's not the market that's dangerous, it's your own hubris. Here's where most traders go wrong. They're constantly chasing that next big win, thinking it's the Holy Grail. But the truth is, there is no Holy Grail. There's no one-size-fits-all strategy, no magic formula. I know. You're still searching for that perfect setup, that magic indicator. But every time you bounce from system to system, you'll end up disappointed. Because what works for someone else might not work for you. It's as simple as that. This is the breakthrough that the great traders have. It's not about finding the perfect strategy. It's about finding the strategy that works for you. A strategy that aligns with who you are as a person. Take Mark Ritchie, a trend-following trader who turned $30,000 into millions by riding big market moves over time. He said, The key is to find an approach that fits your personality. That's it. Your risk tolerance, your emotional rhythm, your psychology, that's the edge. And you can't find that edge by copying someone else's strategy. Let me break this down for you. Trying to force someone else's strategy onto your brain is like trying to run a marathon in shoes that are 2 sizes too small. It's painful, it's awkward, and it will never work. The solution is simple, but hard. Stop chasing what's working right now on the charts. Start studying yourself. Journal your emotional triggers. Track your comfort zones. Notice when you feel flow and when you feel panic. And then reverse engineer a strategy that fits your true self. Because the best traders, the ones who made millions, they didn't win because their systems were perfect. They won because their systems were tailored to their inner world. One trader summed it up best. I spent years looking for the Holy Grail outside. Turns out it was inside me all along. I just had to dig through a lot of BS to find it. And if you've been feeling like you're failing because you can't get it, here's your permission slip. You don't need someone else's system. You need to build one that fits your soul, but that takes time. And it often begins not with success, but with pain. Every trader has a scar. Some wear them proudly, others bury them deep. But here's the truth. The path to mastery is paved with failure. Before they became legends, the world's top traders were broken by the market. They had their accounts blown up, their confidence shattered. They lost it all. And in those moments, when their accounts were empty, their confidence was crushed, they had a choice: quit or transform. Because the truth is, every blow-up is not the end of the story. It's the beginning. Jack Schwager's interviews with trading legends uncovered something profound. Almost every single one of them had blown up their accounts at least once. Not a bad week, not a bad month. A full-blown, catastrophic failure. One trader confessed to losing $600,000 in a single afternoon. Why? Because he refused to cut a loser. Another lost everything because they doubled down out of greed, hoping for a rebound, but watching months of profits vanish in minutes. And yet, none of them blamed the market. They blamed themselves, their mindset, their ego, their illusion of control. Here's what happened next. They transformed. They didn't just get better at trading. They got better at losing. They learned to embrace the pain, the shame, the fear. And in that deep, dark moment of despair, they faced their ego, their pride, and their self-deception. They humbled themselves. Bruce Kovner said it best. The worst thing that can happen to a new trader is to win big on their first trade, because that success breeds delusion. It makes you believe you're invincible, that you've got it all figured out. But failure? That builds character. It strips you bare. It shows you who you really are. The best traders don't just trade the market. They trade their own psychology. They rewire their minds. They evolve. And it all starts with this hard truth. Pain is not a punishment. It's the curriculum. Every blown-up account, it's a lesson in disguise. And if you survive it, really survive it, mentally, emotionally, and financially, you come back reborn. In trading, the underworld isn't just a loss. It's every panic, every moment of self-doubt, every time you've wanted to quit. But if you keep walking through that darkness, if you face it, it doesn't break you. It makes you stronger. Joseph Campbell called it the dark night of the soul. In mythology, the hero must descend into the underworld before he returns with the treasure. In trading, your worst loss is that underworld. Your biggest fear, your darkest day. But it's not the market that defeats you. It's who you become on the other side of that loss. One trader put it simply, "I lost everything at 25. By 30, I was a millionaire. The difference? I stopped fighting the market and started learning from it." Another said, "My worst day became my best teacher. I keep that memory close, not to torture myself, but to remind myself how far I've come." So if you've blown up your account before, good. That means you've started. The market has initiated you. The question now is, will you run from the lesson or rise into it? Because on the other side of that loss, you will be someone new, someone who doesn't fear the market anymore, because you no longer fear yourself. And once you've faced that pain, that fear, you'll be ready to learn the most important skill in all of trading: how to lose like a winner. Let me explain. Losing isn't just a consequence of trading. It's a skill, one that the best traders have mastered. And that's the difference between surviving and spiraling. Losing, done right, doesn't break you. It teaches you. It doesn't ruin your account. It strengthens your mind. One trader Schwager interviewed Marty Schwartz, turned $40,000 into $20 million over his career. His rule was simple. If the market starts to go against you, don't rationalize. Don't hope. Don't wait. Get out. Reset. Move on. The amateurs, on the other hand, cling to losing trades. They tell themselves it'll bounce back. They let that tiny paper cut become a gaping wound. But here's the core lesson. Prolonged losing is optional. You don't have to hold on to a losing position. A quick loss means you were disciplined, and a stopped-out trade means you respected your risk, not failed. The great traders might not win every time. They might have a low win rate, but they always win big when they do win, because they mastered the art of losing small. And in doing so, they survived long enough to make their big wins count. Now let's talk about something that separates the elite traders from the rest: intuition. Most people think intuition in trading is some sort of magic, a special gift, a feeling that you just know what the market is going to do next. But here's the truth you need to hear. Intuition isn't magic. It's memory. The best traders in the world, they didn't just wake up with some mystical sense of what the market was going to do. They earned it. They built their intuition through years of market exposure, emotional conditioning, and brutal pattern recognition. Bruce Kovner, one of the most legendary traders ever, who turned $3,000 into $300 million, described it like this: "There's a point where you start to feel the rhythm. You can't always explain it, but you know something is off. That feeling? It's not superstition. It's subconscious synthesis. It's a brain that has absorbed 10,000 trades, storing the patterns, the movements, the subtle shifts in momentum. Neuroscience calls this implicit learning. It's how athletes sense momentum shifts, how musicians anticipate the next chord, how you can start to feel the market. But here's the thing. You don't get real intuition from reading a book or attending a webinar. You get it through practice, through feedback. And you can only build that intuition if you're paying attention. If you're journaling your trades, not just your entries and exits, but your thoughts, your feelings, your reactions. True intuition has no urgency. It doesn't scream at you. It whispers. It's the subtle recognition of a pattern you've seen before, sometimes 100 times, sometimes 10,000 times. This is where most beginners go wrong. They mistake impulse for intuition. They feel that rush, that gut feeling, and they act. But that's not intuition. That's adrenaline. True intuition has no rush. It's quiet, it's calm, it's patient, and it's earned. So if you don't trust your gut yet, that's okay. It means you're still building it. And if you want to build it, here's the trick. Start mastering the boring stuff. Track every move. Review every trade. Speak your thoughts aloud as you watch the market. This is how your intuition sharpens. Because one day, when you've spent enough time in the trenches, you'll feel that subtle shift. You'll know when something's wrong. And when that happens, don't make the mistake most traders do. You've been building your intuition, but that doesn't mean you're invincible. Here's the thing. Confidence can be just as deadly as fear. When you start winning, when you start feeling untouchable, that's when most traders slip up. They start getting reckless. They think they're in control. They start taking bigger risks, assuming their intuition can't be wrong. But that's the moment you need to be the most cautious. Here's the rule the top traders follow. The moment you start feeling too confident is the moment you should size down. Every time they feel overconfident, they make their position smaller. Why? Because the greatest risk to your success isn't the market. It's the version of you that starts believing you're infallible. So here's the real key to surviving in the market. It's not about size. It's not about the next big win. It's about consistency. The traders who win in the long run aren't the ones who chase huge gains. They're the ones who respect their process, who keep their ego in check, and who understand their limitations. So, if you're serious about this, if you really want to succeed, stop trying to force outcomes. Stop chasing the next win. Focus on mastering your process. Because the moment you fall in love with the process, everything changes. You stop riding the emotional roller coaster. You stop tying your self-worth to the outcome of every trade. You start to realize the market doesn't owe you anything. You can't force it to give you what you want. But you can build a system, a mindset, and a discipline that gives you everything you need. You can learn how to lose with grace, how to trust your intuition, how to detach from the outcome and focus only on your process. And that's when you'll find the real edge. Not in the charts, not in the systems, but in who you become. Because the market, it doesn't want you to win. Not until you become someone it can't break. You don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your identity. And the market always knows who you really are.